What is going on, everyone? Chris from Pickdawgz.com here with the Wraparound, where we're going to be breaking down the NHL action going down on Tuesday, December 2nd, 2025. But before we get to the Wraparound, I remind everybody that if you are looking for my best bets, the games I love the most, the ones that I have the most money on every day, you can head to Pickdawgz.com, click the Premium Picks or the Experts tab at the top of the page. You can also click the link in the description of this video below, or check out the link on the screen. You know that we've got so much free pick content at Pickdawgz that you know the plays on the premium side are the best of the best. That's what Pickdawgz Premium is for. If you head to Pickdawgz, I have a lot of action on the board today. Got my college basketball big play, got a 5-pack from College Hoops, got my NHL power play as well as a 5-pack from the NHL. Bonus plays on there as well if you're on a long-term subscription. You can use the promo code PICK at checkout, P-I-C-K. Get 15% off your purchase, or until tonight at 11:59 p.m. Eastern, you can use the promo code CYBER, C-Y-B-E-R. Get yourself $25 off your purchase, one per account. But we've also got our inner circle, something we've been mentioning a lot in our videos as of late. It's not for everyone. It's for those who are placing larger bets of at least $1,000 or more per game, which is the requirement to be accepted into the service. But we've had a lot of big bettors and high rollers join this club already, having a ton of success early on with the one-on-one coaching, the bankroll management, and the early releases. So if this sounds like something that's for you, reach out to the number that's on the screen and we will get you some more information. But we're here to talk about a 10-game NHL card from Tuesday. You know, it's a solid card, a lot of action I do like, so we're gonna talk about it and figure out where the money is there to be made. So let's not waste any more time. You guys know the drill. Are you ready? I'm ready. Let's get into it. First, we're going to the UBS Arena where the New York Islanders play host to the Tampa Bay Lightning. And, you know, the Islanders as a home dog can be tempting at times, but the problem that I have with New York in this game is that you have two teams that are just headed in different directions. The Tampa Bay Lightning right now are in one of those grooves where they've won 7 straight, and they have a couple of these every year where they kind of start the season slow, and then out of nowhere they win 9, 10 games in a row without even blinking an eye and not even thinking twice about it. And, you know, it just kind of goes off business as usual, and it's what the Tampa Bay Lightning do. And right now, they're in one of those grooves. And, you know, the New York Islanders, their problem this season has been just inconsistency across the board. Sometimes the team comes out flying offensively. Sometimes this team just can't keep the puck out of the net. And sometimes it's both. But right now, they've scored 1 goal in 4 of their last 5 games. Numbers like that are not going to get it done, especially when you have the Tampa Bay Lightning playing so well on the other side. And at a reasonable price, I'm going to take Tampa Bay in this one. I'm going to take them on the money line. Now we're off to Little Caesars Arena where the Detroit Red Wings take on the Boston Bruins in the second leg of a home-and-home. Boston picked up the 3-2 win when these two teams squared off at the TD Garden just a couple of days ago. And, now the rematch going down in Detroit, and Boston has had issues with consistency. They've alternated wins and losses in 6 straight. But right now, what Detroit is doing consistently is lose. And they've lost 4 straight. They have been outscored by a combined margin of, if I'm doing some quick math here, 19-11 in those 4 games. The defense just has not been holding up its end for Detroit. And at this price, I got to take a shot on the Bruins plus the 1.5 and on the money line here. I think this line should be closer to minus 130, minus 140. I think the value here is on Boston in a game that I think Boston is fully capable of winning outright. Now, yes, goal scoring can be a little bit of an issue for Boston. They've scored 3 goals or less in 6 straight on the road. But like I said, I'm not there with Detroit to where I want to lay minus 200 with this team in their current form just because they would feel like they're due at home. They've dropped 3 straight on home ice and have lost those games by a combined score of 17-6. So I'm going to take Boston this one plus the 1.5 goals and put a little bit on Boston money line as well. Now we're going to the Bell Center where the Montreal Canadiens take on the Ottawa Senators. And for me, this is one of the tougher games on the board on Tuesday. But for me, I'm going to roll with the Montreal Canadiens in this one. You know, they've started to pick it up again. They got blown out on the road by Colorado, and, you know, I guess I shouldn't really be surprised. I mean, that's a Colorado team that's just been kicking the crap out of teams at the Ball Arena this season. But prior to that, Montreal had done a good job of kind of turning things around. They had won 3 straight against Toronto, Utah, and Vegas by a combined score of 13-6. The goaltending had been tightening up for Montreal after really having a tough month of November between the pipes. And I think that this is a good spot for Montreal, being at home, head to head between these two teams. The home team has won the last three meetings between these two, including Montreal's 4-3 overtime win between these two, back on November 1st. And right now, the Senators finishing up their 7-game road trip. I think this is a team that's just a little bit road weary. I think they want to get back home. So I'm going to take the Canadiens in this one. I'm going to take them in a lean on the money line. Now we're going to Madison Square Garden, where the New York Rangers take on the Dallas Stars. And another matchup where I just think you have two teams that are kind of headed in different directions. Maybe not as extreme as the Islanders and Tampa Bay, but for me, the New York Rangers, they're coming off a loss to the Lightning 4-1 at home, and this is still a Rangers team that, for whatever reason, has not been able to get the job done at home this season. Still just 2 wins through the first month and a half, almost 2 months of the season, and that's in their own building. And now you welcome in a Dallas team that's been playing really well on the road this season, 9-1-3 away from the American Airlines Center. And not only that, but I mean, the New York Rangers, all they've been able to beat at home have been teams that have been struggling and teams that are not great on the road, teams like Nashville and St. Louis. Dallas, like I said, is not that. So at a reasonable price in this one, I got to roll with the Dallas Stars to get the job done on the money line. Now we're going to the Amerant Bank Arena, where the Florida Panthers take on the Toronto Maple Leafs. And obviously it's a playoff rematch between these two teams, not having squared off since Florida won 6-1 in Toronto back on May 18th of 2025. And, the reason that I'm taking Toronto in this matchup, and people can call me a homer, call me whatever you want, but here's my thing. If you're Toronto, you finally woke up on the road in that 7-2 win over Pittsburgh last time out. But if you're Toronto and this loss to Florida bothered you as much as a lot of the players said that it did in the post game and in the offseason and leading up to this, if that loss and how that series ended bothered you as much as you say that it did, this is a spot where you have to come out and deliver a statement. This is your best chance at getting to Florida. Florida just is not playing well right now. They've lost 3 straight at home, have been outscored 15-8 in those 3 games. We saw Edmonton go into Florida, exact their own form of playoff revenge with a 6-3 win over Edmonton in their game when they were in Florida a few days ago. And for me, you got Sergei Bobrovsky, who just isn't playing well right now. You've got, the Toronto Maple Leafs, who, like I said, could really use a win, especially on the road. And like I said, this is just a vulnerable, or at least what feels like a more than usual vulnerable Florida Panthers team at home. So I'm going to take the Toronto Maple Leafs in this one. I think they're going to come out, get that playoff revenge. Give me the Leafs on the money line. Now we're going to the Bridgestone Arena for this game between the Nashville Predators and the Calgary Flames. And for me, this is a tricky one because these are the two teams that if you followed the wraparound, you know that these are two of the teams that I have placed on fade watch for much of the season. But that being said, you got to pick the lesser of two evils as far as I'm concerned in this one. And while I wanted to roll with the under in this game, the fact of the matter is that I don't trust either one of these teams enough to think that, maybe they can, have a lower scoring game, maybe, keep this one under 5.5. I don't trust the goaltending, but I also don't trust the offense enough to take an over here. So I'm, like I said, lesser of two evils for me is to take the Calgary Flames. I just feel like the Calgary Flames are in better form. We've seen Nashville, regress kind of back to the team that we saw really stink it up through much of 2024-25. And, Nashville at home has lost 3 straight in their own building by a combined score of 16-5. Calgary, not necessarily a world beater, but I feel like they have still been playing some decent hockey. They've split the first 4 games of this road trip. They got a nice win in Florida. They beat up on Vancouver, lost to 2 tough teams in Tampa Bay and Carolina. So to go into Nashville, I don't think it should be as difficult for Calgary. I'll lean towards the Flames on the money line here. Now we're going to the Ball Arena for this game between the Colorado Avalanche and the Vancouver Canucks. And I kind of alluded to it earlier. The Colorado Avalanche are just kicking the snot out of teams in their own building. They're 10-0-2 at home this season. If you just zoom into their last 10 games, they're 6-0 at home with wins by scores of 4-1, 6-3, 4-1, 6-3, 6-0, and 7-2. They are just taking no prisoners at home. The Vancouver Canucks, yeah, this is a team that's kind of tightened up some of their games lately. They've lost back-to-back one-goal games against LA and San Jose. The goaltending has stepped it up a little bit, but the fact of the matter is that, losing games like that, to San Jose and LA are one thing, but now you got to go out on the road and try to hold things down against, right now, what I feel is the best team in the NHL. I don't see it happening. I'm taking the Avalanche in this one. I'm taking them on the puck line to get the win by a couple of goals once again. Now we're off to Rogers Place, where the Edmonton Oilers take on the Minnesota Wild, and I'm going to take the Minnesota Wild here. I think this is just too hefty of a price for me to lay with the Edmonton Oilers in this spot. I get that Edmonton is at home, and this has been a team that's been able to win some games as of late, and finally they get a home game after playing 8 of their last 9 away from home. But Minnesota, this is a team that swept their most recent road trip, winning the 3 games by a combined score of 12-3, and right now they've won 8 of their last 10. They picked up points in all 10 of those games. I just feel like the Minnesota Wild are playing the better hockey right now, and I feel like their goaltending situation with Gustafsson and Wallstedt is a lot more stable than what Edmonton is going with right now, whether it's Stuart Skinner or Calvin Pickard. And I just think this is a spot where I just can't trust Edmonton in their current form. I think that Minnesota, I think, is just the far better team in this matchup. Like I said, the more trustworthy team, and we're getting a great price with them here. Give me the Minnesota Wild in this one. I'm going to take them on the money line. Now we're going to the T-Mobile Arena, where the Vegas Golden Knights take on the Chicago Blackhawks. And, I think this is just a game where, I got to roll with Chicago. I got to go back to what's brought me to the dance. This is a Chicago team that has covered the puck line in 80% of their games so far this season. They're just getting, once again, an outstanding price here. The Vegas Golden Knights have won the majority of the recent meetings between these two teams. And, Vegas, I get why they're favored at home. But my problem is that this is a Vegas team that has still been horrible on the puck line at home this season. The majority of those, if not all of those, have been as home favorites. This team is just 2-12 on the puck line at home. They're playing a lot of close games, playing with fire in a lot of spots. And I think that Chicago, like I said, who has been a feisty and competitive team for the better part of the season, even though they've been, not as consistent in some of their recent outings, I still think this is a Chicago team that's going to hang around. They got blown out in their last road game 9-3 by Buffalo. I think going out on the road, I think they kind of right the ship here at least a little bit and maybe keep this one competitive. We just saw Vegas have a dominant hold on their game against San Jose and then give up 2 goals over the final 5:20 of that game. Of that second period, to make it a 4-3 game and not really be able to pull away from San Jose when all was said and done. So I'm going to take Chicago in this one, plus the 1.5 goals. I'm going to put a little bit on Blackhawks money line as well. And our final game on Tuesday's card takes us to the Crypto.com Arena, where the Los Angeles Kings take on the Washington Capitals. And once again, I think we have a wrong team favorite situation here, where Los Angeles Kings that get there at home and they've been able to pick up some wins as of late. But the problem for me is that the goal scoring issues continue to be there for LA, who are just 3-4-3 at home this season. They've also scored 2 goals or less in 5 of their last 7 games. Washington, they're on a roll right now. They've won 4 straight, 7 of 8. They've been picking up some road wins here and there. Now, yes, the majority of their recent performances have come in their own building, but still, I think Washington is a capable enough team to be able to carry that out onto the road. So I'm going to take the Washington Capitals in this one. I'm going to take them on the money line to round things out. That is it. Thank you so much for checking out the Wraparound for Tuesday, December 2nd, 2025. Again, if you like this content, make sure you smash that thumbs up. Subscribe to our channel. Let me know your NHL picks in the comment section below. And if you're looking for my best bets, you can head to Pickdawgz Premium. You can also click the link in the description of this video below to be taken directly to my capper page. And you can also use the promo code PICK, P-I-C-K at checkout. Get 15% off your purchase. And till 11:59 tonight, you can also use the promo code CYBER instead and get yourself $25 off your purchase. It is only one per customer, but it's a great way to save a few extra bucks on Cyber Monday. So Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you guys.